So as I said before, XML is a very popular data format. It's used in just about everything from web services to documents and more. And an XML document does not only consist of elements and attributes and data. You can also define a type definition for a document itself. So at this point, you can request or include some resources from the system. Then, to interpret this XML data, an application needs an XML parser. An XML external entity attack, or XSE injections, that's where you're going to find them. So this attack occurs when XML input containing a reference to an external entity is processed by a weakly configured XML parser. So it may just lead to the disclosure of confidential data, denial of service, server-side request forgery, port scanning from the perspective of the machine where the parser is located, and many other system impacts. I mean, this is big, right? So in this lesson, we are going to cover XXE attacks. So let's open up Kali and log into BWAP. Then choose XML External Entity Attacks. Now the page display looks like this. So now to see more, let's view the page source. Okay, so I see the JavaScript code here. And this code makes an AJAX request to xxe2.php, and it sends the parameters in an XML file as the post data. So before doing anything on the page, go to Terminal, open xxe1.php, and scroll down a few lines, and here is the JavaScript file in the page source. So I think there is nothing problematic here for now. So let's view the other file. And I guess this page will open doors for us, perhaps even many doors. So on line 24, the data in the post request body is taken by the PHP input wrapper. Then this data is assigned to the body variable, and there's no check for low level. And then naturally, the body variable is loaded as an XML file. And yeah, it looks like the rest is update code. Oh, and by the way, displaying an error is opened up on line 30. Okay, so now for the other levels. Yeah, it's a little bit different. So on line 78, the XML external entities are disabled. The line is commented. But for medium and high level, you can uncomment it. And the rest is the update code as well. And we can exit. Okay, so now go to Firefox, enable Foxy Proxy, and now I'm going to arrange the screen for you because I like this view. Okay, so when you click this button, the request on the right is sent. Now it's a post request, and you can see the XML file below as the post data. And for this request, Burp detects XML content. So you can view the XML tab. Oh, is it pretty? Okay, so forward this request, and the response contains just a message. Okay, forward. Send the request to Burp again, and send it to the repeater tool as well. Then let it go. Okay, so go to the repeater tab. Let me maximize Burp here. And now send this first request to check the connection. Perfect, so it updates B's secret. And I'm going to change here to B1 and send. And it's reflected the response. Okay, so just write something. And it reflects that also. So instead of this XML file, I'll just paste in this one. Now, my payload will define an external entity named XXE. And then it prints its value. And then send. Perfect. So this means that we can include external resources to that XML. Okay. Now, I'm going to use this payload, and it will bring us the content of the password file. Now, let's have a look at that payload carefully. It uses a file wrapper to point to the password file, and it works well. Okay, so now let's use one without this file wrapper, and it works also. Okay, so I'm going to paste this one, and it uses public instead of system, and we see the host name. So now we can use another PHP wrapper to pull resources. But you can encode the file with this wrapper as well. So send the request, and the file is encoded. So copy the encoded part, paste to the decoder, then decode as base 64, and here is the content of the file. So go to the repeater. We can also view the code files. And I will advise you to use this wrapper with encoding when you want to pull code files, because in a normal pull request, the code can cause an XML execution error. Don't want that. Okay, so send the request, and the encoded result comes. So copy it, and paste it to the decoder, not as hex. And this is the code file of portal.php. And we can change the file and send, copy the encode data, paste it to the decoder, and you can have a look at the content of the fstab file. So paste this payload. This payload will cause a denial of service. So when the XML engine tries to load this file, the payload will be expanded into the memory, and it will fill up the entire memory of the server. So that's how the denial of service will happen. Okay, so then send, and you see that nothing appears on the response pane. So now try to go to BWAP or refresh the page, and you cannot accomplish this to view the page. So if the server is not configured to prevent such an attack, it can cause some pretty serious problems. But thankfully, the web server on bbox is configured properly, and we will get an error after 30 seconds. Far out.